I was originally gonna make a video about me again stealing in high school, but then I realized, why am I giving future prosecutors more evidence? Why am I snitching on myself? So then I decided, hey, let me tell this story. Yes, as some of you may not know, I went to boarding school junior year. Arguably my worst year in high school, rivaling freshman year. Anyway, when I pulled up to that boarding school, I had 3 thoughts on the mind. 1, how am I not gonna get bullied? 2, how am I gonna beat my shit while there's a nigga in the room with me? And 3, can I bag a bad bitch? Nigga, I even brought a condom in my suitcase thinking I was finna fuck. My grandma saw the condom in the suitcase before I even left to go to the school and took it out. But that didn't matter. I didn't even get to hold hands with a bitch throughout my whole year and a half at the school. The funny thing is that there was a couple that got expelled for either giving each other a head or fucking, I'm not really sure which. And I couldn't get a bitch to hold my hands. This shit is embarrassing. Anyway, after spending around 2 weeks or 3 weeks at the school, I realized I really needed to beat my meat by any means necessary.
I'm horny as fuck, bruh. I'm walking around the crib in circles with my eyes closed. Cause if I see a hole, I swear to God.
Nigga, I was so horny I could fry a goldfish with my mind. But the thought that I had when I first got to the school came back to my mind again. How am I gonna beat my shit with another nigga in the room? Sure, me and my roommate were cool, but like, I only knew the nigga for like 3 weeks. Beating my shit anywhere near him felt kinda gay. So I decided to do the oinky sploinky inside of the bathroom. But now the next problem was, how was I gonna beat my shit with no porn, nothing? And that's when I realized I was gonna have to be a woman and use my imagination. And for those of you who don't know, I'll put this in very simple terms. You could meet a hardcore female Gooner who has never watched a porn video in their life, but has read 50 Shades of Grey front to back to front, upside down, top to bottom, inversed in the mirror 50 times each, and they've just been imagining themselves getting dicked down by the main man in the story. Anyway, I believe the night that I went to go fiddle my tallywhacker in the bathroom, there was a nigga in front of the mirror shaving his balls at 12 a.m. I know I said that shit like there's supposed to be a time limit of when you can shave your balls, and there is. It's when I leave the bathroom and right before I step the fuck back in. After that, I just left the bathroom because I was like, yo, my brain and by extension my imagination was not strong enough to remove the image of this nigga's balls that had now been etched into my brain unconsensually via trauma. And since I was forced to use my imagination in this situation, stroking my shit would be gay. Also after that day, I kind of gave up on the idea of stroking my snake inside the bathroom. It's because I remembered that in high school, if niggas catch you taking a shit, they will then alert everybody in the school via intercom that you are taking a shit. Now imagine you in a stall and they catch you beating your shit. Nigga, the whole school district finna know what you doing. Do an Amber Alert announcement. Everybody phone finna go off like, The message finna read, Campoleon is currently beating his meat in the upstairs bathroom, stall 4. And if that happens, we finna find out next what happens when you kill yourself in school. Anyway, because I couldn't beat my shit in the bathroom, I had to find a way to do it in my room. Meaning that I had to schedule out my own horniness. And you can imagine how hard that was as a teenager. It's like trying to schedule out when the worst times are to go to Burger King. Like, my nigga, every time is a bad time to go to Burger King. Why are you trying to schedule this shit? Anywho, but what I realized is that I could either beat it literally right after school or during the time at night when I thought he was asleep. And that nigga did not snore or anything like that. So I just had to pray that when I had my dick in hand, he was in dreamland. That line would sound crazy out of context. Anyway, since I constantly had after school detention and it was entering the 4th week and I was like losing my mind, I had to take a gamble. So after some consideration, I was like, okay, if I use maybe a glove or a plastic bag, maybe I can slightly take away the sound that would be made from me freaking my shit. I didn't have rubber gloves, so I just went with a plastic bag. So one night I pulled out the plastic bag when I thought that my roommate was asleep, and I started to participate in self-gratification. So the good news was that it didn't sound like I was beating my meat. The bad news was it sounded like I was fucking a plastic bag. And in my horny mind, I was just kind of like, well, that's better than it sounding like, and more like, well, whatever the fuck fucking a plastic bag sounds like. I'm not gonna put the fucking sound effect in here. But I was doing this shit for around 2 to 3 weeks before one night I heard my roommate basically just kind of like move in his bed, but not like the type of move where it sounded like he moving in his sleep, but more so the move that sounded like a nigga getting woken up by a dick being assaulted. Right then and there, I realized I was beating my shit loud as fuck. Shit probably sound like when you put a stethoscope next to a hummingbird's wings as it flaps. I don't know where the fuck that simile came from, but just roll with it. But after that week, I was told that a dude named Connor had a USB drive full of porn. I immediately went and asked Connor if I could have some of his stash. He said we could discuss it in my room after school. Now when the school day ended and Connor pulled up to my room and opened up his laptop, my eyes opened wide like I'd never seen titties before in my life. Like imagine how Blackbeard must have felt when he cracked open a treasure chest for the first time. I felt exactly like that, but I was bricked up. Anyway, I don't remember what it is that I gave Connor in exchange for porn, but it probably wasn't good because that nigga gave me bullshit. Just one video of some redheaded bitch with fake titties. Like how the fuck was I supposed to get jiggy with that shit? But who was I to complain when the only titties I had seen in the past 5 weeks was that of a fat nigga changing his clothes in the locker room? You could have given Godzilla titties and made a porno out of it and I would have watched it. That's how desperate I was. Bing! 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 Yeah, that's me! Also, since my roommate was in the room when this shit happened, the moment Connor left, this nigga walked up to me and was like, hey, you should let me borrow that. I meant for that to be a accent from the Bahamas, but that just sounded like a really bad Jamaican one. But I obliged him and gave him the video. Why? Because if a nigga wakes up and hears you beating your shit and doesn't speak to you about it ever, that's your brother, homie. A few days after that, word got around that I had a video and the niggas were coming to me for it instead of Connor. So I had essentially become the catalyst for a porn black market at my boarding school. I was the Pablo Escobar of virtual fornication. Okay, I'm kind of lying. I was just giving this shit away for free to anybody who was relatively nice to me. So what is the moral of this story? Don't be a gooner. I really don't know what other thing you could have pulled from this video. Anyway, bye.